Home of the prodigal son, young Chad Townsend. And Chad Townsend plays on, plays to the whistle, kicks away for Valentine home. Townsend, brilliant.
What is going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Chad Townsend Show. Look, we've got a massive show for you today. Obviously, an unbelievable weekend of football, and especially if you're a Roosters fan, we'll get into that. But on today's show, we are going to react to the biggest moments from this past weekend. We are going to have a look at our Big Footy Guy of the Week, where we nominate 3 players from this past weekend. We have a look at their performance, we have a look at their stats, and then we put them basically out on show for you guys to vote. So if you want to get involved in that, head over to the @Chad Townsend Show Instagram page. You can vote on the poll, drop a comment on the post, and you go in the draw to win a $50 playersgolfclub.com.au voucher. So that'll be pretty exciting. We have a look at what's trending in the NRL right now, a couple of funny things that have happened over the weekend, which we'll talk about throughout the show. We're going to have a look at Halfback House, where we look at 2 halves from this past weekend, and we have a look at their performance and what they did really well. And then, as always, we finish with our fan questions. And before we get into the show, I'll bring him in. Victor, the Inflictor.
How are we doing, Chad?
How are you, mate? The producer.
I'm great.
How was your weekend of footy?
Amazing. I think this weekend of footy just showed how good rugby league is.
Yes.
A lot of upsets. And most of all, the Sharks got their first dub.
Yes, they did. I knew you'd be happy about that. I didn't. I knew you'd probably say that. But, yeah, the Sharks got their win against the Cowboys, which we might briefly touch on a little bit later on. But let's get into it. The Roosters versus the Penrith Panthers, the 4-time premiership winning Panthers. Look, last week we came on the podcast, Victor, and, it was a disappointing game last week. But, I just want to bring that same energy this week. Regardless of the result and what happens, I'm not here today going to be like, stuff you and stuff this and whoever, you guys doubted us and whatever. It's not about that. It's just showing up and being there and, having some fun. So obviously this week, it's a much happier week for us this week. You know what I mean? We're here after a win talking about an incredible game, and there's so much to talk about from the game. I've been involved in the game for a long time, but this win on the weekend was honestly one of the best of my career. One of the best games I've been involved in. And I'm just so unbelievably proud of the boys. We had a lot of young guys, some more guys making their debut as well. But yeah, just to be here and to be able to talk about this game on the weekend, it was absolutely an incredible game. And Victor, did you want to talk about the odds of the game? I mean, you noticed that before the game. Tell me about it.
Yeah, I'm not sure if you keep too many tabs on the odds of the games, but it was a big talking point throughout the week for a lot of punters, and you boys were paying $11. $11.
The
Panthers were paying $1.05, which is wild.
I'm not a massive betting guy, but $1.05 is like a sure thing. It's surely gonna.
You get like a horse race, and you see $1.05. You're on that. You're not on that. Actually, you'd be stupid to be on that.
Stupid to be on that.
But
man, $11. I wonder if any punters out there, anyone listening, did you get on the boys? Did you get some winnings back? Because that's some bloody good odds.
Unless you slips.
Yeah, mate, that's insane. Let's talk about the week last week. Obviously, like I said, we fronted up last week on the podcast and we spoke about that Brisbane loss, and there was a lot of disappointment from the game and a lot of learnings and a lot of key takeaways for us in the game. And then, externally, obviously there was a lot of noise, a lot of comments in the media, in the mainstream media and in the new media, and it's all a part of the game. We never spoke about the noise as a team internally, and I'm someone who I know it's there, but I try my best to kind of not get into it too much. I know what's going on and I know what's being said, but I'm not putting too much energy into it. I understand how the game works. I understand we're in professional sport and performances get, critiqued. That's just the job of some people. And look, I understand how it works, and that's why I said, I'm not here today to just, be stuff you to people, because that's just not who I am. So, But yeah, I think the biggest thing for us last week, as I know me personally, like I kind of wanted to protect our younger players. Like I didn't want our younger players to kind of read into the media too much and suffer from it. Like understand that, this is a part of the game. Like criticism and fans being angry and writing comments on social media is unfortunately, it's like a big part of the game. It's just what happens. So I, got around a couple of our young players and spoke to them and just wanted to make sure that they were focused on, just improving the things they wanted to improve from the week before and playing their own game this week against Penrith. And, we came up with a game plan against Penrith and we were all on board, and it was a massive credit to our coaches for bringing that together. We practiced it, we trained for it, and we focused on the areas that we needed to improve against the Broncos. And that's basically what we did. We practiced it all week and we got it on. We had a really good week of training, a really good preparation. And, obviously it hasn't been mentioned too much, but obviously, losing Lindsay Collins with a cheekbone injury, and then Victor Radley was out with his protocol. So, we had a lot of, things happen from the Broncos game to the Panthers kickoff, which, losing guys like Victor and Lindsay are like representative players. And, we had guys like Taylor who was on a building site last week, concreting Victor, so then starting in the front row. There's so many stories from last week. Hugo Savala would make his NRL debut off the bench, who, he's played in the halves, he was playing in the middle. And then obviously, like I said, Taylor, who was concreting last week, he comes off the building site and goes straight into the starting front row. Celesi, another one, starts in the middle in place of Radley. So there's so many stories about, our team and our players and the team who was lining up last week. And then, once we got to the game, we really believed in what we wanted to do, our game plan. And the conditions were extremely hot. Like, I don't know if you remember, Victor, it was the Friday and Saturday was like unbelievably hot. I remember we were in CommBank Stadium and we ran out for our warm-up, did some kicking, and it was just like a heat wave. Like it sort of whacked you in the face, and the sheds were air conditioned. So it was, you felt it a lot more. I remember sweating a lot, and I was like, this almost feels like North Queensland. Like it was that hot. And then, we get to the game and, we conceded the first try, which, wasn't great. And I guess people were probably thinking like, oh no, here we go again. Like, the Roosters have conceded early and this is going to be a long night for the Roosters. But the talk behind the try line was really calm, was really clear. Teddy got us all together and we just spoke about getting back to the game plan and sticking to our process of what we wanted to do for that game. So, from that moment on, we're actually able to sort of bounce back and get back into the game, relatively quickly with a try to mark Nawanga Nitawase. The great footwork in the show and go. Sandon Smith got the ball out to him nice and early. And, Mark, who I think is much improved in the NRL, he's only, he's a veteran in professional sport, having played for the Waratahs and the Wallabies, but, he's only sort of new to the NRL and rugby league, and I really thought that was probably his best game I've seen him play. Like, he's very athletic, very good in the air, but, he's got great hands as well. And that first try to him was just, it got us on the board, you know what I mean? And it kind of led, or got us back in the game. And then, the Panthers made some errors, which would give us, a couple of more sets of possession attacking their try line. And then that would lead into a try from Connor Watson, which was awesome. On the short side, we got to that point and we kind of wanted to move the ball, and then we got to a position where Siwa Wong had a really strong run, and we set up on the short side with 4 players, and we might even get a clip out of this, Victor, actually.
100%.
So what happened was the short side, Siwa had a really strong carry, and then Sandon Smith and I sat on the short side, and the Panthers only had 3, and you'll see Isaiah Yeo, who's at A defender, he's kind of worried about who's on his outside and helping the outside players because he knows they've only got 3 players. And Connor Watson sees the space because Isaiah Yeo is worried about the outside, gives himself a little bit of room on the inside. Connor gets out and takes it and scores his first of 2 tries on the weekend. Connor had probably one of his best games I've seen him play, to be honest. I thought he was exceptional. He was outstanding on the weekend. He actually won our players player. So he had 80 minutes, 2 tries, 90 metres from hooker, and 50 tackles. 50 tackles. But for me, it was a couple of the little areas that I really noticed from Connor. He was always in the picture, saving tries. His effort areas were outstanding, and it was just insane performance from him. He's such a professional, and I'm really happy to be in his team. Anything to add there, Victor?
Yeah, I just wanted to kind of go back to like small thing about your game plan. Definitely notice a lot of high balls going up in this game. How is it as like a halfback having players like Dom, Mark and Tupu being able to contest those balls?
Yeah, well, I
caused
think
a lot of problems for the Panthers.
For sure. I mean, obviously at the end of your set, you want to kick the ball back to them. And, we have some big wingers who, want to contest kicks and be in the air. So, it's up to us to try and put those balls in good positions. And, when they can get up and do that, it's really effective. So the Roosters have been doing that for a long time. They're very good at it. And I don't know this, but I think Trent Robinson likes big wingers. Like, I just get the feeling like Toops has been there for 13 years, been a mainstay. And obviously, Dom's only been there for a couple of years, but, really effective for us on the weekend. So it was really, a really, really, really good one. What happened next? Well, it was, a lot of defense from some of our young guys, actually, was really impressive. Blake Steeps tackle on Henry to save a try, which was incredible. I thought he made a real difference when he came on, Steepy. He's only young, Blake Steep, but he's got the whole lot of NRL in front of him. He's from Port Macquarie, I think, Port Macquarie kid. So Ken Surf loves his bodyboarding, but he's
not the same as surfing.
He can surf. We went to what did we go to? We went to Urban Surf the other week, actually, and I'm actually going to put out the vlog tomorrow or Wednesday of Urban Surf. So keep an eye out for that. But anyway, yeah, he's a good kid. He's a very, very good. Very good kid, works very hard at his game. And that would lead us we'd go into halftime at 18-all. So Penrith scored right on halftime, which is really disappointing, that kick over to the post. At halftime, we spoke about just trying to stay calm, stay in it, stick to our plan. We knew that Penrith weren't going to go away. Penrith are a team that'll be there in the 79th minute, and they'll be competing for the win. Very rarely do they get beaten by, a couple scores. So, that's what we spoke about at halftime. We just wanted to stick to the plan, stick to what had been working. And, we came out in the second half and were able to score straight away. Connor Watson scored his second try off a Teddy line break, and James Tedesco, I mean, what a game from him. He was unreal. Teddy had 3 try assists. He was really, really solid for us. Just his leadership, which was amazing, and his talk on the field in both attack and defence, I thought was outstanding. The Panthers obviously just refusing to go away. They were always coming. The game was kind of like they'd score, we'd score. You know what I mean?
Very back and forth.
It was very, very back and forth. But it was Daniel Tupou when he scored his second try, and obviously Sandon Smith's long-range try from in our own half, which I'm going to touch a little bit on later on in Halfback House, which was awesome. Some really nice vision there to move the ball to some space. And then later on, Dom Young would score out on our right edge when we had Celesi in the sin bin for the final 8 minutes, which was just made the game just absolutely hectic. How were you watching it, actually? Come the back end of the game, Victor? Tell me.
Mate, when Celesi went off, I was like, here we go. Panthers were refusing to go away. Just quickly, what was going through your head, obviously, before you guys went on that 3-try run?
Yeah.
What was kind of like the chat under the post when Edwards went over?
Yeah, it was a kick try. So I think we were moving really, really well in defence, and they kind of resorted to that kick early, trying to catch the fullback out of position. Look, I think, like I said before, we knew the Panthers weren't going to go away. You know what I mean? They're a team who they're going to be there or thereabouts. So I think we just wanted to kind of focus on the next job straight away, get back into what we'd practiced, what we'd spoken about, and try and execute the game plan. And I felt like we did that really well. And, we're able to control the ball for long periods of time, obviously getting to our kicks, which helped. But I think the calmness, of our team for such a young side.
Exactly. For the young blokes to keep their head. And I think it goes to show like the strong leadership we have at the Roosters with Teddy, with Gussie, Angus Crichton, with Connor Watson, I thought those guys did an excellent job last week and in the game. So, sure.
Yeah, I think those guys deserve a lot of credit. We spoke about Dom's try on the right edge when Celeste was in the sin bin, and then the panic kind of started. The last 8 minutes with 12 against 13, we knew Penrith were just going to throw it sideline to sideline. It was just like, you make a tackle, they're shifting to the other side. Make a tackle, they're shifting the other side. They were just throwing everything in the kitchen sink.
It must have been almost like a roller coaster when you guys forced that error.
Yeah.
And then Celeste was off.
Yeah,
right?
it gives you like a bit of a breather. You get the ball, you can actually slow the game down a little bit. They're obviously trying to play a high tempo, move the ball around, challenge people. So we kind of wanted to slow it down where we could, and that would then, I guess Penrith would then get some field position in at our half, and they actually got a penalty and they took the 2 points, which I thought was a good idea, being behind by 8 when Nathan missed that first goal, to then take the penalty goal and go the penalty goal first instead of trying to go the try first.
Yeah.
I actually like that tactic. I'm a big fan of that tactic. I think if I am in that same position, I'm probably telling Teddy, I reckon we go for the 2, and then once we get the ball back off the kickoff, it's like, let's just try and shift and score off the kickoff.
Yep.
Teams are good enough these days to run 100 meters on you, and with a set and with momentum to do that.
Especially the Penrith Panthers. Just shows their mentality.
Especially the Panthers. So, that last 8 minutes, obviously Panthers would throw the ball around and McLean would score a try. The talk, again, was really calm behind the try line. It was just to try and, keep working, put all of your energy into defence. Put all of our energy into defence and don't stop moving. Get up, make the tackle, get off the ground, get back to the line, get up, cover your mate, don't stop moving. Do not walk while we don't have the ball. So, and then obviously the veteran, Daniel Tupou. What a tackle, man.
Unreal.
What a tackle.
Oh my gosh.
Brian Toto,
Where were you watching that?
I was in the...
Because you had obviously gone off.
Yeah, I'd gone off. I went off with about 3 minutes to go. Had to go because I had a HIA because I was late to stand on the field, but I was fine.
Yeah.
I was fine. I actually feel fine right now, and I felt fine after the game.
Good.
But, Brian Toto, scores that try, 9 out of 10 times, does he?
If you show a freeze frame of that exact position where Toto is and where Tupa is, you're like, he's going to score it. But what an incredible effort by Toops. Gosh.
Toops, the veteran.
Toto just doesn't get stopped there. 9 out of 10. Wow.
It was incredible. Massive raps of Toops. What a try. The underdogs, one of the best wins I've been a part of. And I just absolutely love talking about it. I know today we've obviously gone into that in a lot more detail. Obviously the win. And like I said, I've been around footy a long time and, just really proud of the boys, just the group that we've got at the moment, a lot of young guys and with a mix of some experienced guys and some guys who are getting, really good, consistent NRL time. And it was just incredible. The scenes in the sheds after the game were awesome. There was a music. It was almost like a bit of a rave. Dance party happening. Boys just absolutely loving it. Hugo with his debut. Lots of fun. And that's what footy's all about. I said to Rob Toyer after the game, I said, Bobby, this is one of the best feelings you'll get in your life. Winning NRL games is one of the best feelings you have in your life. You put so much time, effort, and energy, and you sacrifice so much. And then when it comes off and you get a win, Like it really is one of the best feelings. So obviously a really good weekend for us. And it's awesome to be able to stand here today and share my insights with you guys on what happened with our game on the weekend. Right, obviously plenty of other games throughout the weekend as well. We're going to quickly cover those results and some key performers from the rest of the games. Knights 26, Dolphins 12 in the Thursday night game. KP on fire for me. He was everywhere, had 3 try assists and ran for over 200 metres. To me, Kalen Ponga looks like a different player this year. He looks like he's taking on a lot more responsibility, getting the ball in his hands, having a lot of carries at the line, but it's his defensive work that I'm really enjoying at the moment. He's always in the picture. He's always saving tries. He's hustling at the back. He's knocking balls dead. He's everywhere. And I feel like he's really getting to that stage of his career where he's like, he wants a premiership. He's you can tell he's locked in this year, I think,
for sure.
From some of his performances. Excuse me. The next game was the earlier Friday night game, which was the Warriors versus the Sea Eagles, 36 Warriors to the Sea Eagles 16. And I'm not sure if many people may have saw this result happening. Obviously, the Sea Eagles coming off a really big win against the Cowboys in round 1 with a lot of confidence and a lot of, a really good game. Sorry.
They looked really good.
They looked,
just
they started the game really well. The big news out of this game was obviously Daly Cherry Evans and Turbo both go off injured. DCE, the Manly coach said it was back spasm, but it didn't. I don't know if it looked like back spasm. I don't know. That might be a cover.
Okay.
I don't know. I'm no doctor.
Okay,
I'm no doctor. I'm no NRL. I'm no NRL physio.
Yeah.
But Turbo as well, obviously.
Yeah, and Turbo's gone.
Turbo with a soft tissue injury, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Hamstring, which is not great for Turbo. Obviously had a long history of those injuries. So, we, as a New South Welshman, I hope Turbo's back soon and back firing for Origin time.
Yeah, best of luck.
Hopefully both those guys get back in time. You don't want to wish injury upon anyone. Like I said, Manly scored their first try against the first try, Turbo. And I wrote a note down here, like, is there a better support player in the game than Tommy Turbo? Like, every time there's a break, Turbo's in the picture. He's always there, and he's done that for years and years and years. He did it from right centre a couple of years ago in Origin, and it was absolutely insane. I remember watching it going, how is the right centre there supporting scoring a try? So to me, he is, an elite support player of the game. The Metcalf bounce back. Victor, we weren't panicking, were we, last week?
We did talk about this.
Yes.
What
did I say? What did I say?
You said it, and he just came back. He looked unreal.
He did. He
proud of Metcalf for bouncing back after that tough Vegas trip.
Yep. Of course, and this is like I said, like this is the NRL. Like it's not easy in the NRL. Like there's times where you don't play well, you don't have the best game, your team loses, you get criticised for your performance, and then that's okay. But it's like this doesn't mean just because you have a bad game, it doesn't mean you're a bad player. And like as long as you work hard at your game, you bounce back, and then you come back and play well. And you're working hard. Like that's all you want to see. Players just working hard at their game and wanting to improve. And Metcalf is that guy. I know that he would be working extremely hard. He would be wanting to improve. So I told you guys, the haters, I told them to cool the jets on Metcalf. And the try celebration. Let's get a clip of that actually. The try celebration was the silencer. It was like this. So he's silencing the haters and blocking out the noise. I absolutely loved it.
Yeah, I loved it.
I'm a massive Luke Metcalf fan, and it was awesome to see him do his thing and lead that team to victory. We play the Warriors this week over at Mount Smart, so he's going to be a big key for us to try and stop with their attack. The Warriors completed 91%, Manly at 72%. So Warriors obviously very high there. Manly obviously throwing the ball around a lot, made a few errors. But yeah, like we said, Warriors would take the win. The next game.
Sorry, just one thing.
Yes, Victor. Yes.
Good news about Turbo. There was no tear in these scans.
Right.
No tear, just tightness. So Yeah.
That's
Positive,
good.
something positive.
That's good from you, Victor.
Yeah.
Just jumping in with that late notice information. So that's good. I mean, obviously, with hamstring injuries, like again, I'm no doctor, but I've been around sport for a while. If you have tightness or you just tighten up, that's good. If you can go off, then like that's okay. But if you like feel something go where you're like, oh, I just felt something, like that's bad. That's going to put you out for a couple of weeks. But if you get general tightness, and then as soon as he probably got that tightness because of his history, they'll probably like, man, just get off because it's better to be safe than sorry. And it sounds like they've kind of gotten away with it. So hopefully Turbo won't miss too much time, it sounds like. The next game was the first game on Saturday. Rabbitohs 25, Dragons 24. And I was at home watching this game. I'd just been in the pool and for a nice swim. And just full chill dogging in the backyard. And
Full chill dogging.
I was watching this game. Obviously, Val Holmes was playing, so I wanted to watch it quite closely. And look, I thought the Dragons were going to win.
Yeah.
It was a pretty even game in regards to all the stats. I mean, if you looked at the stats without knowing the score, you'd probably think the Dragons had won. But yeah, I just think. I mean, it came down to the back end of the game. And it was the Dragons, they got the ball after South scored to tie it up with 6 minutes to go. And I just thought it was the decisions of the halfbacks at the end of the game that really counted in the crunch time. And Lachlan Ilias decided to not take the field goal and instead they set up for a cross-field kick. And the Dragons, like their game drivers should have been taking the ball to the post and having a crack at a field goal. Like with the game tied, like to me, with the game the way that was going, I probably would have liked to have seen them go for a field goal and have a crack at it. But that wasn't the case. And then South would get the ball back and then they would go down the other end. And I mean, it even to me looked like South weren't really thinking about or going for a field goal as well. But then South, they shifted the ball out to the left-hand side and Humphreys was in the middle of the field and he got the ball. And he just got the ball in last play and just was like, I'm just having a crack.
That was just probably a heads-up play from him, right?
Heads-up play from Humphreys.
The whole team knew they was
so,
going to go for that.
It was a little bit off cuff, like we said, but Humphreys straight down the middle, a flush field goal, left footer, and that'd be the difference. And I think, speaking as a halfback, as halfbacks, we always have to be thinking about what do we need right now? What does the team need right now? You're taking the scoreboard. What's the score? How long left? And what does the team need right now? Is it a field goal? Is it a kick to the corner? Do we need to shift the ball? Do we need to hold on to the ball? Do we need to play conservative? Are we in front? Are we behind? These are all these questions that they constantly change throughout the game. So I just thought, I've got no doubt that probably both teams will talk about that end period of the game in their review. But to me, I was like, Dragons probably should have set up for a field goal. Humphreys as well. I mean, we've spoken about Humphreys, Victor, a couple of times on the podcast. He looks like he's locking down that number 7 jersey for South Sydney. He is a shy boy. We did shout him out. We love our shy boys who are out there doing things. So shout out to Jamie Humphreys. And I mean, he's probably challenging Scotty Sorensen for like the best rig in the league at the moment. Soro's still king.
Yeah, I mean, like as a half, he is huge. You could play lock.
Man, I saw a photo of him with his shirt off walking on the beach, and I don't know, it was like just a bloody Greek god. It was like, man, he was so chiseled and like his arms are like just so bloody toned. I was like, bro,
man crush, mate.
What's going on, man? I need some of whatever you're having.
You're on that meal plan. It's a South nutritionist.
Yeah, South nutritionist. We'll see what's happening. The next game was the 5:30 game on Saturday. Sharks 36, Cowboys 12. Really disappointing game for the Cowboys. Couldn't get anything going. The Cows. They hung in there for a while in the game, and then the Sharks kind of just scored a couple of tries and then just sort of pulled away. Watching the game, I could kind of sense a little bit of frustration from some of the boys. I think, defensively, they were probably a little bit off with some of their reads. And, yeah, I'm a Cowboys fan, and I want the boys to do well. But I was sensing their frustration just watching it. I was like, I think they're a little bit frustrated. And that try from Drinky at the end, I mean, it was an incredible try. But I was like, he's angry right now doing that.
Yeah.
I mean, they take on the Broncos next week.
Yeah, that'll be a good test for them.
I
mean, with the Drinky one, at the end of the game, I think he scored in like the 75th.
Yeah, it was very late.
Done by then. So.
Yeah, the game was obviously, but he was angry. Like he got the ball, shrugged off Will Kennedy, and then just like accelerated hard, and then scored, and then like just got up, and then like it was just his face is just not giving much. And like I get that, mate. I fully get that. I've been there before. It's a very, very tough position. But let's hope the boys can bounce back against the Broncos. That's going to be a massive 4X derby. I'm pretty sure the game's in Townsville as well. So those games are always massive. I look forward to watching that. Anything you want to add there about your Sharkies, Victor?
Yeah, I'm going to be not too biased.
All right. Well,
I'll just give one
biased,
shout
right?
out.
Just chill, all right?
Will Kennedy. Yeah.
No, I'm joking.
Will Kennedy, I think there was a lot of question marks in the media with him start of the season, but I think to start the season he's been incredible.
Yep.
Did really well again. I think got all 6 daily M points this week actually.
All right. It's impressive.
But under the high ball I think it was really good. Obviously that high ball he took and then set up Stone Street, which set up our try down the left for Wilton.
Yep. I love how you say "our." That's just like you're.
So, yeah.
No, I love that. I love that. Keep that energy. I love that. That's like that's awesome.
That's a fan thing.
That's awesome.
But yeah, no, I thought he was really good. And a try-saving tackle against Tilling. That was huge.
That try-saving tackle on Tilling. I mean, Muzz is no easy feat to tackle, but I thought that was a huge effort.
Huge tackle. Yeah.
And
right before half time as well, I think.
Excuse me, made Muzz, put his foot on the line. That could have completely changed the dynamic of the game in the second half, for sure. So, 36, Sharks 36, Cowboys 12. The next game was the last game on Saturday where the Raiders 32, Broncos 22. I mean, probably another game where we probably didn't see this happening. I'd probably say the Broncos were probably favourites heading into the game, obviously after their big win in round 1 against us. But the Raiders, to me, their forwards really laid a platform in this game. I was really impressed by their aggression, their line speed, and obviously another Englishman down in Canberra. I mean, Matty Nicholson, 2 tries for the English debutant. And it must be just something down there in the nation's capital. Like, they love bringing in an Englishman. And, a lot of, like, you look at a lot of the guys who have been down there and really had a lot of success. Obviously, we talk about Bateman, Elliot Whitehead. Matty Nicholson looks the goods down there on the edge. He was really, really impressive. But like I said, it was the Raiders forward pack that I really thought, done a good job. I thought Horsburgh, again, I know you're a big Horsburgh guy, Victor. He was awesome. And I thought Zach Hosking coming up, he was actually another one who's had some time on the sidelines over the past couple of years, but I thought he was really good as well. And for the Broncos, obviously they'd be disappointed with that. I saw Madge's press conference and he said, quote, they thought they would come down here and win. And potential signs of complacency after a big win just goes to show that anyone can beat anyone on any day, and that's the NRL. So you have to keep that same energy. Just because you have a big win, you can't be complacent. You can't train any easier. You can't not do your extras just because you've played well. And on the other hand, if you have a really good game, a really poor game, you know what I mean? You don't want to burn yourself out and do too much and think about too much. You kind of want to keep that same energy all year round and just work on the things that you need to work on. Keep your routine, your structure really well, really consistent. So, obviously disappointing one there for the Broncos. The next game was the Sunday 4:00 game. Tigers 32, Para 6. This game probably went the way I thought it would. The Tigers scored a lot of really nice tries. Taruva scored 3 tries, had an absolute day out. I thought the Tigers really took a big step in the right direction with their attack. I thought they moved the ball really well, and I think their halves playing some really good football. They're linking up as well. A tough start for Para, obviously without their captain Mitch Moses and their leader who's on the sidelines. I'm pretty sure he's the first 6 weeks out, and obviously he adds a lot to their team. And Para start the year with back-to-back losses. The last game of the round was the Bulldogs 40, the Titans 24. I found this one interesting, Victor. The Dogs' only game at Belmore this year.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I mean...
That's like one of the most hyped grounds.
Yeah, I mean,
just looking at it from a TV perspective.
For a team...
Just see the atmosphere there.
Yeah, I found it really interesting. I'm not sure why, but I'm pretty... Actually, I did hear that I think like their corporate areas for the stadium aren't great. Like, how you sell like corporate boxes and stuff like that. Okay. They don't have that many available there. So their ability to kind of make money on the game and sell suites and all that stuff, catered suites isn't great. Obviously, at a core stadium, I mean, that stuff's everywhere. Even though you've got like 50,000 empty seats. I don't like playing at that stadium, to be honest.
That's enough said about that.
Yeah. Anyway, we'll move on. The Titans were in camp since Tuesday. They were in Sydney, and they just couldn't get it done. They looked a bit fatigued. The Titans couldn't get it done. The big takeaways out of this game were the injuries to Matty Burton and Viliami Kikau, reported MCL injuries. So best wishes to them on their returns. Burton reported to be a low-grade MCL sprain with no secondary damage, and NRL Physio expects a 2 to 4 week return. So NRL Physio, a shout out to him. What do we got next, Victor? Let's have a look.
Big footy guy of the week.
Big footy guy of the week.
First up, your boy, Connor Watson.
Yes. Connor Watson, look, is our first nomination for Big Footy Guy of the Week. 80 minutes, 2 tries, 90 metres, 50 tackles, some huge stats from Connor Watson. Look, I said it before, but to me, it was one of the best games I've seen Connor play. To score 2 tries from hooker, he played 80 minutes. He was in absolutely everything, but it wasn't just that. It was his try saving, his cover tackles, his leadership. I thought he was absolutely outstanding. So he's our first nomination for Big Footy Guy of the Week. The second one is Kalen Ponga. Look, he was everywhere on Thursday night in the Knights' big win against the Dolphins. 3 try assists, ran for over 200 metres. And like I said, KP looks locked this year. He's our second nomination for Big Footy Guy of the Week. And our last one, he's been nominated before, and we've nominated him again after another big performance. Terrell May, starting in the front row for the West Tigers, 64 minutes in 37-degree heat. The weather over the weekend was absolutely insane. Even like I said, for our game, which was at 8 o'clock, it was unbelievably hot on the Friday night, and obviously on the Saturday and the Sunday, the weather would remain the same. And he ran for 176 metres. He had 3 offloads, 4 tackle breaks, 43 tackles, 1 miss, and also a big vlog guy.
Big vlog guy.
Haven't seen Terrell May's vlogs yet. Haven't watched one, but we need to watch one.
For sure. A little collab, man.
I love that. Mate, well, I'm not going to say no to a collab. Yeah. I mean, I love guys put some content out there on YouTube. To me, there's going to be more of it. It's
coming, yeah.
I think.
There's a lot more players getting into it now as well, right? Like KP, I think, has done a couple.
KP's done a couple. Yeah, I've seen one of KP's. Yeah. I think it's coming a lot more. I think it's going to be normalized. I mean, I've been doing it for a couple of years. 2018, I bought my first camera. But when I was in high school, I played with cameras and stuff too. And I had a love then, but then I kind of went away from it while I was playing footy for a bit. And then I was like, I'm going to buy a camera. Gary V told me to buy a camera and start vlogging. So I did it. I look back at some of my first vlogs, even though I know we're a bit off tangent right now, but and I'm like, this is so cringe. But I'm like...
the mullets there.
Oh, man, the different hairstyles, what I'm saying, how I'm talking, my tone, my haircut. I'm just like... But then I look back on it and I'm like, man, I've got all these memories on camera and it's just... I don't really care about the views. I'm just like, I enjoy doing it. So shout out to Terrell May, big vlog guy. He's our third nomination. So make sure you head over to Chad Townsend Show on Instagram. You can vote on the poll, Victor. We'll have it all set up and get amongst it. You go in the draw to win a $50 playersgolfclub.com.au voucher. And yeah, make sure you follow the page too there on Instagram. We appreciate your support. What have we got next, Victor?
What is trending? Big story this week. Dill Brown signing a 10-year deal, $13 million with the Newcastle Knights. What do you think? What was your reaction to this deal?
My initial reaction was, wow, insane. Like, good on him. If someone's going to pay you $13 million over 10 years, like, you got to take that. You know, I don't...
He did say it wasn't about the money.
Yeah.
But
I'm pretty sure he said it was about the 10 years and the longevity, security
is like massive, yeah.
Which is awesome because NRL contracts are guaranteed. Like, if you sign for $13 million, you're going to get paid $13 million regardless of what happens, regardless if he changes clubs, regardless if he gets injured or whatever, he's going to get paid that money. So just that security is incredible. I'm a big Dylan Brown fan. I love the way that he plays for a younger half. I think he's like, I think him and Cleary, like, I don't know how old Dill is.
I think 25.
25, yeah. And I think Cleary's maybe 26. Excuse me. So I think out of those like 25 middle range halves.
Sorry, 24.
He's 24. So, man, that's insane. Out of those kind of middle range, like by middle range, I mean like middle age. So you'd say middle age is like, I don't know, 25. I think him and Nathan are like the two elite halves for their ages. You know what I mean? So you can see why I guess Newcastle have done this. Obviously, I mean, do I think it's a good deal for the Knights? Time's going to tell. You know what I mean? I mean, it's probably a big risk for them, and with regards to things that could happen. You know,
yeah.
Because the contract's guaranteed. That's what I mean.
Yeah, 10-year contracts are scary.
10-year they are.
I mean,
because you just don't know what's going to happen over those years.
10 years, yeah.
You know what I mean? If I am an administrator of a club, I'm probably not signing people to 10-year contracts. I'd love to actually hear from Newcastle and speak to someone about like what are the reasons why we think the 10-year length is a good idea. I mean, even if it was like 6 or 8.
I mean, they just signed Jack Cogger this year as well.
Yeah. So
who do you think that halves pairing is going to be? Because obviously Fletcher Sharp's doing an amazing job at 6 at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good question. I think it will obviously Dylan, and it'll be interesting to see whether Dylan wears 6 or 7. Like, you know, you're paying that money to be your number 7. So, you know, who does partner him? I think it might be Fletcher Sharp, to be honest. I think they're kind of pushing him, you know, up and giving him a real chance to play.
And he's been amazing.
He has been amazing. He's been really strong, obviously really good on his feet, great footwork, a lot of speed and agility. And then obviously I saw like a lot of coverage about the deal and with regards to like, you know, Kalen Ponga and, you know, supporting him. Obviously he's carrying a lot of the weight up there in Newcastle. So, you know, to pair him up with Dylan Brown will be interesting to see how those two connect and how they play. And also I saw KP's press conference where he just fully
showed off that reporter question, wasn't it?
He just hit some reporter for 6 who just asked him about. I don't know why these reporters ask some of these silly questions sometimes. Like, he's not going to answer like the way you want it. So like, why ask? Like, I really just don't.
But even then, there's nothing been said about him being unhappy with this
Yeah,
deal or anything.
I know.
Like, they're just creating news out of nowhere, but that's the job, I guess.
That's the mainstream media sometimes, Victor, and you get to know that. That's why we're here on the podcast, getting it from the mouth, straight from the mouth. Everything you see here is just, and read and listen to this on this podcast is just straight from the horse's mouth. So yeah, make sure you subscribe. What have we got next on what's trending there, Victor? Tell me.
Just want to hear your thoughts about Mal Meninga's chat on KP actually playing for New Zealand.
Yeah.
I think KP's father came out talking about Ponga wanting to play for New Zealand. I don't think Ponga's said anything himself, so don't want to put words into his mouth there. But Mal Meninga said it's not going to happen,
Yep.
which it won't
Yep.
because of the eligibility rules. But
Yep.
do you think with the game growing, do you think there's time to kind of revise that?
No, I don't like it. I agree with Mal Meninga.
Yeah.
I think once you elect to play for Australia, like Australia is who you should play for, but also think that like I love guys going to play for like those tier 2 nations like Samoa and Tonga and stuff like that. You know what I mean? If they don't make the first initial team. But yeah, I mean, you can't change from Australia to play for New Zealand. You can't change from New Zealand to play for Australia, can you?
Yeah, I guess so. I guess like from my point of view in trying to grow the game,
Yeah.
the way we do that is by making a bigger international scene. I think that's
Yep.
a big part of that.
Yeah, I'm
making it more competitive and
Definitely.
to see players like playing for Tonga and playing for Samoa are amazing.
Yep.
And there's probably a big push for those countries to be tier 1
Of course.
nations.
Yeah, that's
in
definitely a
the
good
future.
argument. Definitely a good point. Yeah.
So I just would like to see the international game be competitive. The rules are the rules though.
Yep.
And, you know.
Yeah, I mean, it's an interesting one. There's no doubt international footy's grown a lot over the past couple of years. Obviously, Tonga and Samoa and all those guys committing to play for those teams. It's a really interesting one because I think it's only going to grow and grow, and it's going to be interesting to see what the NRL does with the new teams that are coming in a couple of years, and whether there's talk around a Pacific team and things like that. So yeah, it's one to keep an eye on. Obviously, the eligibility is always going to come up every time we talk about high quality class players potentially looking to shift allegiances. But at the moment, I'm not a massive fan of it. I think just as an Australian, like I would just die to play for Australia, you know what I mean? But I fully get that some people have different heritages and want to represent multiple countries. So, I respect that as well. What's next, Victor? What do we got?
Side note, did you see Offengawi give a little kiss to Jerome Buller?
I did, and I was like, what's doing?
I think he dacked Lomax at the start of
What's
the year.
actually doing there? I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't be doing that, but like...
You're not going to give a little peck to JFH when you left
No,
Lomax?
hell no. I'm getting away from him.
Oh, we hope not.
No way. I don't know what was doing there, but yeah, a bit weird, but Big Joe's done a bit of weird stuff for the past couple of months.
It's a
so.
character.
Yeah.
It's a character. Halfback house.
Yes. Halfback house is where we look at, we've got 3 halves here, actually, and we're going to look at some of their stats from the weekend and go over some of their plays and some of the things they did really well this week. And obviously, we spoke a little bit about Luke Metcalf. His bounce back last week was insane. He had 1 try, 2 try assists. He had 6 for 6 conversions as well and 11 kicks. But, that I guess it was that ability just to mentally come back from a poor game, which was really, really good from Metcalf. Threw a nice pass, a short pass to Litau to score, but it was a celebration at the end of the game that I really enjoyed. Just the silencer and the shush and just blocking out the noise and telling people to just be quiet. I love that. And then, we're massive on players celebrating and showing some personality in that light. So I thought he's our first notable halfback from the weekend. Our second one was Sandon Smith. The Roosters 5'8". We want to give a massive shout out to Sanger. His name is Sando or Sanger. Nickname is 1 try, 1 try assist. He ran for 108 metres, 5 of 7 with the boot, 2 line break assists. But it was that try that I kind of want to break down a little bit, where he saw some space out on the left edge and threw it out left. And then Mark Nawanga-Nitawase, got the ball as well. He passed to Angus Crichton, and who made the line break. And then he kind of ran up the sideline, or the left side of the field, and then Sandon Smith would support back in the infield. And then once he got the ball, he just turned on the afterburners, and he was just firing. He just ripped on from 50 out, made it, scored a try. And then he got up, and he was so pumped up. He was incredible. And then our last one was Jamie Humphries. 1 try assist, 4 of 4 conversions, 18 kicks, 1 field goal. He's been really, really solid the first couple of weeks. Does the simple stuff really well. Really solid defender, obviously very chiseled rig, which we spoke about. It looks really to have set or locked down that number 7 spot for the South Sydney Rabbitohs. And we'll move on to fan questions. That's it.
Yes, sir. Fan questions.
Fan questions. What do we got, Victor? Let's fire them out.
Should the NRL get rid of the second chance for top 4 teams once the final series starts? So should we run into kind of like the NFL where every game's an elimination game, but the first week those top 4 teams get a bye?
That's a really good question. I really like the NFL system, but I also think like I love the history of our game, and if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And I love that if you earn the right, you get a second chance, because sometimes, you know, a game might happen and something wild happens, like your best player gets a HIA and goes off, or your best player gets injured, or 2 players leave the field for something, like, you know what I mean? So I love the second chance because I think teams have earned that right from consistency throughout the season.
Yeah, for sure. Another question. What is your thoughts on the NRL at the moment? He thinks games are a little bit of a dire state and expansion isn't the answer.
Yeah, I disagree with this one. I think the game...
I disagree with this as well.
Yeah, I think the game's in the best condition it's been.
Yep.
The product is faster, more physical. There's more tries being scored than ever before. And the players are, you know, more professional than ever before than I've ever seen. So I think the game's in a great position.
Yep.
Obviously, the NRL turned a massive profit last year, which we heard about. We've got games in Vegas. We're looking to bring in teams from overseas, Papua New Guinea, the Pacific. The growth of the game is incredible. Grassroots, the women's game is growing at rates that are massive. So I disagree with this one. Sorry.
Yeah, I think it's the most competitive the game's been as well. There's so many good teams out there at the moment.
That's what I mean. Anyone can beat anyone on any day. So
there's no big. There are still big threes like your Penrith, but you know, like you said, they can get beat.
Yeah.
As a rookie, what was your welcome to the league moment?
Yeah, good question. This one, I think we played Newcastle. Well, I was playing at Cronulla, and we played Newcastle, and Junior Sau was playing left center, and I was like pushing out the back of some shape, and I didn't get the ball. He shot out of the line and like hit me without the ball, and he was like into me verbally, just like, yeah, get that India, like I'm coming all day. And I was just like, oh my God. I just got up, walked back, and like the wind just knocked out of me, and I was like, oh my God, what's actually going on right now? So that was definitely it for sure.
Love it. We need more of those stories, I reckon.
Yeah, I've got plenty of stories. I'll tell them all one day. Plenty.
What point do you look to run on for the tackle instead of kicking?
That's a good question. I think more, I think it changes. I think it's just more about the speed of the play the ball, the position of the field, and what the defense is doing. If the defense is kind of passive, it probably allows you to run a little bit more on last tackle. And obviously, you got to get that balance right between, running and kicking. But if you're getting a heap of pressure, do you pass and then let them run, or do you just get the kick away? So it's more like field position. There's a lot that comes into it, but a really, really good question. I mean, because more teams, especially now with the 7 tackle rule, more teams are probably running it on last play inside the 10 than ever before.
Yep, for sure. Who are the top 3 golfers in the NRL?
Top 3 golfers in the NRL. I think Pong is up there with his handicap. I did hear that Jordan Rapana was off 2, even though he's in the Super League now. I know there'd be a couple other that I'm forgetting. I mean, Cohen Hess is off 5. Kyle Felt's off 5. They were the best at the Cows. I'm currently 8.3. Valentine Holmes 8.4 at the moment.
Got some tidy golfers.
Yeah, I know there's a few others out there, so
have to do some 1v1.
Have to do some homework research.
And then last one, who is your man of the match from Friday's game?
My man of the match for Friday's game. I mean, we've given him a lot of love today so far. It was Connor Watson for sure. Without a doubt, Connor was our best player. I thought Teddy was a close second, but to me, Connor played an outstanding game. He actually won our player's player, so he got the game ball, and an awesome game for him. So that's it. Victor, anything to add before we wrap it up?
That's it. Another good day, week of rugby league.
Yep.
Got a trip to Warriors next week, hey?
Yes, tomorrow. We're off to New Zealand to play at Mount Smart. Haven't played there for a couple of years, but absolutely love playing at Mount Smart. Love my time when I played at the Warriors a long time ago. But yeah, look, we want to say a massive thank you to everyone who's been tuning in on the show. We really appreciate your support. Please make sure you subscribe to the channel. Drop us a comment below. Ask your questions below in the YouTube section. And if you're listening on audio, just please rate and review us. Drop us a 5-star. Drop us a review on there. It does really help our podcast grow and the algorithm, all that, whatever that stuff is. But obviously, yeah, it's not a massive thing for you guys to do, but it does mean a lot to us. Your support is massively appreciated, and we look forward to bringing you this season, this podcast weekly throughout the whole season. And we'll see you guys on the next episode.